What's up guys, Matty Ice here, and today we are trying some snacks. Well, it's been a minute since I've done a potato chip, an actual potato chip and not like Doritos or something of that nature. So I figured let's get some Kettle Chips. Yes, Kettle Chips are one of my favorites, and even though I don't eat them much anymore, you gotta appreciate that kind of hard crunch and the taste of the oil that they have. One of the most well-known brands in this space is going to be Kettle Brand. Kettle Brand, name says exactly what they are. These are going to be Kettle potato chips that are cooked, and these are sea salt and vinegar flavor. But yeah, this is a traditional kettle chip. They're hard, not super hard like some of them like Grandpa's, but they're cooked in that oil, and you know, they have everything that you like about chips. So typically this is what people think of when you say I'm going to have a kettle chip, something of this nature. I found at the store though something that kind of blew my mind, and I'm wondering how it's going to play out. So Kettle Brand Chips has a new line of chips. They have air fried. So these are chips that have been kettle cooked and then they're finished in an air fryer. And just looking at the back, it says, how do we make our air fried chips so amazing? We batch cook them in kettles like you would normally with a kettle chip. Then we air fry them for a light and crispy crunch with bold flavors. And I was like, wow, because that's kind of, you know, same thing on here. You know, we cook them in here and we make them so efficient. And I do like that they're conscious about the environment and their ingredients, because they're using gluten-free, non-GMO products, and they're purchasing wind energy. I mean, it sounds great. So if these could potentially reduce calories and still taste as good, I mean, what's the downside to not having them fully kettle cooked or however they normally make these chips? So okay, so one of the first things that struck me about this package after, you know, seeing that this one was air fried was that this one has 290 calories and this one only has 230 calories. And I thought, wow, we've already shaved 60 calories out the top. However, there's a catch. We've got some marketing here that I'm kind of not a fan of. This is a 2-ounce bag. This is 1.7 ounces. Now, is this 2 ounces because the same volume of chips is heavier? And this is 1.7 because there's more chips in here and they need to leave that room so they don't get crushed? I don't know. But I think if we were to take the numbers and, you know, correlate them upwards so we have the same serving size, you know, what, 56 grams and 48 grams. So if we added those 8 grams, we're probably going to see nearly identical caloric information. So I'm not sure that these are going to be healthier for us in the long run, because everything on here is looking, you know, exactly the same, except there is a stark reduction in the amount of monosaturated fats. This bag is almost 50% less, which that would not be accounted for the total amount of difference in weight. So that's the only one that I'm seeing off the top of my head that really jumps out at me. I mean, yeah, total fat overall is lower, so I guess slightly better. Anyway, we're going to open these up, give them a smell. Ooh, those smell like vinegar chips. Those, oh man. Vinegar chips, and they look like chips, guys. You know, if you've seen a chip, you've seen a chip. They've got that good oily smell to them, and they smell like vinegar very strongly. I love vinegar chips. If I didn't mention it, these are also sea salt and vinegar. All right, now for the air fry ones. These ones don't smell like vinegar. They smell like potato. Looking inside the bag, it's, you know, a little bit different. These ones have a foil-lined interior. These ones have this kind of white interior. I don't know why that is. Maybe because these ones have more oil in them. But they honestly, these chips look a little bit bigger, which is kind of strange. And these ones look a little bit smaller. But I think overall they're very similar. Now, I gotta try these, but I really don't want to bias myself as to, you know, which one's which. So we're gonna make a little experiment here and see if I can tell, and then we'll let you know which one I think is better. Guys, so here's what I came up with on my limited budget of $0. I've got 2 bowls, Mickey and Minnie, identical except for color. We're gonna put these right here, and then I've got a Lazy Susan. So what I'm gonna do is try and even these out so they're the same spot on here. Looks good. Okay. And we're gonna spin them around, and then I will try a bowl. I will just reach into the bowl and take one. I won't, pick up the bowl. That way if there's markings or anything, but you guys will know what I'm getting before I do. So the original Kettle brand chip. We're gonna put these in here. I'm gonna try and foam up about the same too, and if I see any chips that are awkward like this one, I'm gonna take those out as to not bias the results. Okay, I've got a couple chips in there. This one. Alright. Wow, it's kind of hard to get even chips on here. I'm noticing after dumping these out that the air fried chips are all much larger and not quite as broken up as the Kettle chips. So maybe I'll just try and find one chip from each that looks about the same. That way we truly have a blind taste test. Okay, so we got one chip here. It's pretty even in size. That one's a little bit busted. It's a little bit larger. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's dump these back in the air fried bag. You guys know the rule, one chip. So this was our air fried chip, nice light color. It does have a light texture to it. You can see we only have one chip in there. I'll dump our other Kettle Fried chips back in. Okay, the Kettle chip does look a little bit more yellow. Okay, one chip. You guys know the rule, one chip. What I'm gonna do is, I've got my little headband blindfold. We're gonna pull this over my eyes. I'm gonna give him a spin, and then I can't see anything. Okay. Oh man. Well, this isn't the most comfortable thing in the world, so we're just gonna give it a couple spins lightly, so we won't know what's what. Come on. Hopefully it's spinning enough. I don't want to spin it too fast because I don't want the bowls to go flying everywhere. We'll just keep going a couple times so it's as random as possible. Alright, 1, 2, and 3. Alright, I'll give it a second to stop. Okay, we're stopped. We're going to try this one first. Here's the chip. That was the bowl it was, so you guys can see. Let's give it a smell. It's got a nice vinegar smell to it. A little bit oily. Not very much vinegar flavor there. Very light on the salt. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, you know, when you get those shoestring potato chips, the little sticks. I think I might know which one that is. And then, okay, here's the other one. It smells about the same, vinegary, a little oily. Guys, you do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure this one out. I know exactly what that was. That was definitely the Kettle chip. Hard crunch, a little bit of a vinegar flavor, nice salt flavor, a little oily. Much more heavy and thick than that first chip, which I believe was the air fried chip. Let's see. Yeah, so now that we've completed our little experiment, let's give these chips a little bit of a try. Okay, so we'll start with the air fried chips. The big takeaway for me is these air fryer chips are much lighter in crunch. These feel lighter on the palate. They don't feel quite as greasy. And they really don't have as much flavor. These ones kind of taste vaguely vinegary. There's almost no appreciable salt flavor. However, you can actually really taste the potato in these, and it's kind of nice. It reminds me, of eating, like you said, those potato sticks. Those, you kind of really get that potato flavor. But these are kind of like if you had, a regular chip that was slightly harder, that's where you would be. This is not really a kettle chip, in my opinion. And let's go with the OG. So good. Much more prominent vinegar flavor. I mean, very heavy. How I like it. When you want a vinegar chip, you don't want the LaCroix vinegar chips. Good amount of salt, and you've got that oily kind of taste that follows with kettle chips that it's just, so good. So these are, in my opinion, the clear winner. You are not going to confuse your air fryer finished chips with ones that are finished fully in a kettle, I guess. So what's the takeaway? The air fryer chips are not bad. They do have some positives. They're lower in fat, and I guess due to the serving size, they are a little bit lower in calorie for you. And there's a small sacrifice to pay. You got to reduce the flavor a little bit, apparently, and you don't get quite the crunch you would with a classic kettle chip. Now, the kettle chips are still, this is silver tuna, if you will, of the chips. So, for me, guys, I'm having silver tuna tonight. But if you want to give these a try, certainly. I mean, this will fill your craving for something salty, potatoey, vinegary. And if you're, looking to reduce some calories, it's definitely not a bad option, guys. And these are priced the exact same. I think both these bags at Sheetz were like $2.79. That's going to do it for this one. We will catch you next time. And, as always, have a good night.